So, hello everyone. I hope you are doing good again. So, today we are going to talk about a new lesson, which is about, as you see in the title, marvelous machines, right? Marvelous simply means something which is beautiful, okay, gorgeous, right? So, machines, machine or robot is going to be the theme or the general topic of the lesson of today, right? So as it is a very important aspect in the world, okay, in today's world, so let's look or have a look at the history of robots, right? And where have robots been invented, okay? Who is the founder of this kind of machines, right? So let's start. Okay, we have discussed, would you like to have a robot at home? How would it help your parents? Okay, think about these two questions. Try to build some kind of ideas in your brain so that you move to the second activity. Next, we have, before you read the text, okay, can you guess which of the following topics will be mentioned, right? For example, first, science fiction, okay, the link or the correlation between science and fiction. Fiction is something which is imaginary, something which is not real, right? Household chores, okay, we know it, okay, the works that we do at home. And we have music, sports, work, films, health, computers, okay? So think of these words if they are going to be existed or talked about in the text, right? So what I would like you to do now is that to try to follow, okay, read the text on your own or follow with it here. So I would like you to give me the general idea of each paragraph, right? Paragraph now 1, which ends here, paragraph 2 that ends here, paragraph 3 and paragraph 4, right? So try to follow and give me the general idea of each one of these paragraphs. Okay, here we go.
5C. Marvelous machines. 2. Read. A. Before you read the text, can you guess which of the following topics will be mentioned? Then listen, read, and check your answers.
Robots. Robots have been around for many years. They do jobs that are boring or too dangerous for humans. But robot technology is just at its beginning. We have lots more to see during the 21st century.
Okay, second text.
Traditionally, people have thought that robots are machines that look like humans. However, most of the world's robots look very different. About 3.5 million domestic robots exist in various shapes and sizes. They can hoover, mow the lawn, or do other chores around the house. Also, about 1 million industrial robots are found worldwide. These large machines are used to perform accurate tasks very quickly in factories. There are also telerobots that are controlled from a distance and are used by doctors in surgery and by the police and military to disarm bombs safely. Japan is the robot capital of the world, with 30% of the world's robots.
Okay, last text.
Robots have appeared in many books and films. In fact, the word robot was first used by the Czech writer Karel Čapek in his 1920 play Rossum's Universal Many stories with robots were also written by the writer Isaac Asimov, who invented the 3 laws of robotics. A popular fictional robot of recent times is WALL-E, the small robot that was built to clean up the Earth after humans had left the planet. Robots are becoming more and more intelligent, and scientists predict they will create a robot brain soon. But will there come a time when robots are more intelligent than humans?
So, after you read the quick reading of the text and the understanding it very clearly and making ideas or general ideas of each paragraph, so now try to move on to the second or the next activity, which is about some sorts of vocabulary that we find it in the text. Okay, domestic, industrial, fiction, intelligent. Okay, so try to decide according to the text, right? For example, fiction, right? Read it, okay, in its context and try to understand it, and link it, for example, with its correct definition, right? And when you finish, move on to some kind of comprehension questions that are related to the text. Okay, so try to answer them and we'll do something else again, right? Vocabulary activity, we have here much the verbs in the box with the groups of nouns, right? We have make, build, produce, invent, discover. Okay, so these words, all of them mean the same. For example, make means, for example, create, okay, to make something, right? Build, okay, it has to do with buildings, right? To build something, to create something. Produce, okay, it comes from production, right? To produce something. Invent, okay, for example, before we didn't have, for example, cell phones, but due to the need of communication, humans can invent phones, right? So discover, okay, discover means to find something that has never been known, right? For example, an island or a continent, right? For example, the American or the continent of America has recently been found by a famous discoverer, Christopher Columbus, right? So these are the meaning of these 5 words. So try to link them with these groups of noun. Okay, we have a machine, the telephone, electricity, oranges, cards, a car or a cake, a film, cards, an island, oil, an empire, tunnel, machine, right? So try to put each word in its correct place. So, grammar lesson. Okay, passive voice. Okay, the present simple and the past simple, right? Okay, we used to hear this kind of statement, passive voice, right? So passive voice is a kind of statement or sentences that emphasize on the action, right? So for example, in the present tense, active voice, okay, which is the source of the passive voice. For example, Brazil produces a lot of coffee, right? So in the active voice, usually the emphasis or the focus is on the doer, okay, the doer of the verb, okay, Brazil produces, the one who does the verb, okay, or who did the verb. But in the passive voice, it's something different, okay? So the emphasis here is on the verb, okay, the action. A lot of coffee is produced in Brazil, right? Produced. Okay, we don't care about the the doer of the verb. Okay, we'll leave it till the end of the sentence. We start by the complement of the sentence. We put it in the beginning. A lot of coffee. We add something new. Okay, is produced. Okay, we have here produces. It becomes produced. The past participle of produces, okay, or produce in simple present, and we make Brazil, okay, the doer of the verb in the end of the sentence. So it becomes a lot of coffee is produced in Brazil. Okay, we focus or we emphasis on the doer of the verb, right? Or in the action. I'm sorry. So what we need here, okay, we go through 2 steps, okay, so that to make the passive voice. Okay, first of all, we look at the sentence. We determine the tense of the verb. Okay, for example, Brazil produces a lot of coffee. Produces, it's in simple present. Okay, so we pick the verb to be. Okay, we make it in the simple present. Okay, of the in the tense of the verb, which is simple present. We put it first here, is. Then the main verb, we put it in the past participle, right? So it becomes, produces becomes, is produced, okay, in Brazil. Then we switch Brazil, we make it at the end of the sentence, and a lot of coffee, we make it in the beginning or at the beginning of the sentence, right? So it's the same as the past simple, okay? John Leggy Bride, okay, or Bard, invented the television in 1923, okay? So invented, right? You see here, invented, okay? It's in simple past, okay? So we put the verb to be in the simple past, right? It is was, right? Invented, okay, we make it in the past participle, okay? It stays the same, we add ed, right? Invented, okay, then we kind of switch the doer of the verb with the complement, so it becomes the television was invented by John Logie Bard in 1923. So this is the general rule of the passive voice, right? So here, as you see, some kind of definitions. The use, okay, we use the passive voice to emphasize the action rather than who or what is responsible for it, okay? We mean the doer of the verb, okay? The responsible for the verb, right? Formation, okay, the rule or how to form the passive voice. Okay, basically we form it from the active voice, right? The passive voice is formed with the verb to be, okay, the addition of the verb to be in the appropriate form at the past participle, okay, in the appropriate form and the participle of the verb of the sentence, right? The person who causes or carries out the action is called the agent, right? The agent means the doer of the verb, we call it the agent of the sentence, and is preceded by the preposition by, right? So here, for example, the television was invented, okay? The television was invented by John Bright, okay? So the agent of the verb must be preceded by, right? So another diagram so that to explain more the process of making the passive and passive voice. So for example, in the active voice we have Mary wrote a letter. So first of all, as we said, you have to determine the tense of the verb of the sentence, right? Wrote, okay, so it's simple past. Automatically we put verb to be in simple past in the tense of this verb, right? Then we add, okay, we add the past participle of wrote or writes, so it's written. Okay, then we put the object or the complement of the sentence. So here we have a direct object of the sentence in the beginning, so it becomes a letter was written. Okay, then the doer of the verb or the agent, Mary. So before Mary we put by. Okay, so the sentence becomes like a letter was written by Mary. So now let's have a look at the three forms of the passive voice, right? So we have the negative form, affirmative form, the question form. So affirmative form, it's okay, it's subject verb, okay, in the affirmative form, and negative form, okay, we usually add not, okay, not, but we don't add it to the main verb, we add it to the let's call it the auxiliary verb, right? So for example, I wasn't called, right? Okay, somebody calls me, I wasn't called, right? Question. Okay, when we hear the question, so it automatically it's the inversion of the subject and the verb, right? Was I called? Was I called? So this is about the past simple, right? Present, right? Present simple. I am called in the, for example, affirmative form. He, she, it is called, right? We, you, they are called. Negative form, we put a kind of negation, not. I am not. He isn't. He, she, it isn't. We, you, they aren't called, right? Question, we invert the subject and the verb again, right? So it's I am I called, or am I given? Is he, she, or it called or given? Are we, you, they called or given? So this is all about the passive voice. Okay, remember, the first thing that you need to remember about the passive voice is that we focus on the action, right? We focus on the action, but in the active voice we focus only on the doer of the verb. Okay, what we need here is that to put the verb to be, okay, in the tense of the verb, then you switch the direct object or the complement in the first position of the sentence and the subject at the end of the position, and we precede it by, right? So now let's try to make some exercises. So here in the student's book, try to complete with the present simple, passive, or the past simple passive, or verb in brackets, okay, of the verbs in brackets. Okay, so try to make these verbs in the present simple passive or past simple passive, right? So once you finish, take your student's book or workbook, page 51. Okay, let's do some exercises again. Here we have complete the sentences with the words in the box, right? Marvelous. Okay, we saw marvelous. It's something beautiful, amazing, gorgeous, right? Exist. Okay, we know exist. Fictional, something that has to do with imagination. Predict. Okay, so predict means you can guess, okay, the thing that is going to happen. To predict, for example, the future. Brain. Okay, it's a human organ. To mow is a farming activity. Okay, so it has to do with cutting, for example, the grass. Okay, let's call, for example, cutting the grass, to mow the grass, for example, right? To discover, okay, to find by searching, discover. Factory. Okay, factory, it's a kind of big building that produces things, right? Factory. Intelligent, okay, so it's an adjective, right? So try to please to put the words in the correct places. So next, complete the sentences with the present simple passive or the past simple passive of the verbs in brackets, right? So it's the same as the previous exercise in the student's book. So please try to put them in the correct form. Okay, pay attention. You have to read carefully the sentence so that you know the tense that you need to put in the verb, right? So next activity, it's a kind of quiz. Okay, so as you have to do here is that to put the words that or the prompts that you are given here. Okay, for example, many words bananas produced in India. So, okay, you have to decide which tense you are going to use. Okay, in creating the passive verbs, okay, of these words, right? And then you are going to choose the correct answer. Okay, so basically you have got the answers here, so try to not cheat, please. Okay, answer, okay, make the question, answer them here. Then when you finish, try to check how many questions you got right here, right? So next page 52, okay, exercise D, circle the correct words. Okay, so for example here we are given two words, okay, two tenses, let's say showed, which is the past simple of show, and were shown, which is the passive simple or the simple past passive of show, right? So you need to choose depending on the context of the sentence the correct words from these two, right? So last activity in the workbook, okay, which is about text, right? Text about a film which is called WALL-E, right? So I personally watched this film. It is very good film. It is rich in terms of information that has to do with robotism, okay? So how the world, for example, is going to be affected in the future by robots, right? So what I'm going to ask you to do is that try to read the text, okay, again, and answer the questions. If you would like, try to watch it. Okay, it's the film is available on YouTube. Try to watch this film, right? It's a short film. Try to watch it without reading this text and answer these questions. Okay? We're going to find the same information of the text in this film, right? So when you finish, please go back to student's book. Okay, page 63 and listening activity, right? We have looked at the three robots, okay, three robots here from a science fair and answer the questions below. Okay, then listen to a reporter interviewing the winners and check your answers, right? So what do you think of the robots do? Okay, each one of the robots. Robot, which do you think won the first, second, and third prize? Okay, so try to please answer these questions, then listen and check your answers. So here we go.
5. Listen. A. Look at the three robot inventions from a science fair and answer the questions below. Then listen to a reporter interviewing the winners and check your answers.
Hi. This week on Science Matters, we're at the National Science Fair. There are lots of amazing things going on here at the moment. But first, we're going to meet the winners of the robotics competition. The third prize went to Julian Beckford with this cute little fellow. What's his name, Julian?
This is RoboDog.
And what is he designed to do?
Well, he can hear when letters or newspapers arrive through your front door. Then he moves to the door to pick them up and brings them to you.
How does he know where you are?
First, he barks like this, so you know he's got something. Then all you do is shout for him, and he can hear where you are.
That's quite amazing. And you don't have to take him for a walk every day. The second prize went to Susan Colson with her robot, which you can probably hear. Can you turn it off for a minute? Thanks. So, what have we got here?
Well, my robot plays music and also moves to the music.
Perfect for a party. It will dance with all the guests. What's the keyboard for?
Well, DJ Bot can move around and people can suggest songs for it to play next.
Very useful. Does it serve drinks too?
No, it wasn't designed to do that. But I'm building another robot for that.
Maybe you'll win first prize with that next year. So, on to the first prize. It's called Aquabot, and Guy Downing is here to tell us what it does.
Basically, it's used for exploring deep oceans. It can swim fast, and it has got 2 cameras, one in the front and one in the back. But the best thing is that it can tell if something is moving nearby and points its camera at it.
Incredible! So, do you hope this robot will be able to find new species living down there?
Yes. We still have 95% of the world's oceans to explore, you know.
You've got a lot of work to do then. Well done to all of you. And let's move on to another.
Okay, so once you finish, try to write your answer here. Next, the same listening audio, another activity, okay? So we have here, listen again and complete the sentences, okay? So first, I need you to read these sentences, okay? Read them and understand them clearly. Then listen again and fill the gaps with the correct words, right? So please read this tip, okay? Try to predict what kind of information is missing. When completing, make sure that your answers make sense with the rest of the sentence, okay? So I think this is the end of the session. Okay, so we still have speak and write. Okay, I think it's not going to be very efficient and possible to work because we need 2 students or make it a group work, right? So let's make it fair enough here. Okay, so thank you so much for being a good listener today, and see you next time.